Welcome to episode 2 of Drink Local. I'm your host, Pete, and this is Dennis, the owner of Schmidy's Tavern, which is where we're going to be tasting some beer tonight. Why don't you tell us a little bit? You've been the owner since April, and why don't you tell us about Schmidy's and what are some of the things you got going on here for people who love beer?
Well, my wife Kathy and I bought Schmidy's back in April, and neither one of us ever had any bar or restaurant experience. We just kind of something we always wanted to do. It was a dream of ours. So after 22 years of manufacturing, I decided, between the two of us that it was time to do something we wanted to do. So we found Schmidy's and visited several times and decided that this was the place we wanted to buy. And one of the things that really interested me about Schmidy's was the craft beer. Mm-hmm. I'm not big into craft beer, but it really interested me that a bar could actually have craft beer as their staple and still do well. And that's one of the things that we've carried on with this place is we carry a wide selection of craft beers at all times. We try to have different styles on at all times, whether it's a red, a brown, an IPAs, stouts, you name it. We try to keep as much as we can on tap at all times.
And definitely not the same ones you see everywhere. Definitely,
no, they're not.
You're keeping it interesting.
And in fact, just last week I made a trip to San Diego because we all know that San Diego County is full of craft breweries down there.
Yes, we do.
So after 7 months of buying from my distributors and everything like that, I decided I wanted to do something. I wanted some different beers in here.
Okay.
So I made a trip to San Diego last week and picked up some beers that hopefully nobody else out here has. That way we can have a little different selection than other bars out here. But craft beer has been real good to us. I mean, it's something that our customers come to expect from us, and we want to continue doing that. But there are other things to Schmidy's also. We have live music 3 nights a week on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Monday night we have Monday Night Football for the next couple of weeks anyway. Tuesday we have our Cicerone Tasting, which you can hear him behind us there.
Yeah, tell us a little more about that. I think that's something that people interested in beer would definitely want to hear more about.
Well, we have a certified Cicerone here on staff. His name is Justin Moeller. He was on staff when we bought the place.
Okay.
And the guy has just the most vast knowledge of beer of anybody I've ever met. But every Tuesday night, we have a Cicerone tasting where they will sample not just beers that we carry, but very rare, hard to find beers. Some of our customers will actually bring the beers in if they find something rare, or Justin will search them out. I mean, he's found everything from your everyday run-of-the-mill craft beers to a $200 bottle of craft beer. I mean, anything you can imagine. And we do this every Tuesday night, and as you can tell, they have a good time.
Definitely, we can hear them having a good time. I don't know if the audience of the show can hear us because there's a lot of background noise here.
But so we do that every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock.
All right.
Then after that, when we're done with this, we have our open mic night where local artists can come in and sing and or tell jokes, do spoken word, read poetry, whatever they want to do. And like I said, on Wednesday night we have a live band. It's our house band every Wednesday night. It's the D. Phillips Band. It's kind of a Motown type of thing.
Oh, great.
And that's from 6 to 10 every Wednesday night. Thursday nights we have karaoke. Red's Rockstar Karaoke, and that goes from 9 to 1:30, and that's been a really big hit for us. And then Friday and Saturday we have live bands as well. And what we try to do here with the music is we try to feature local original bands, not just cover bands.
Oh, great.
People can go to any bar and see a cover band.
For sure.
But we want to give these local bands that write their own music, we want to give them a venue to play. And I think we've done a good job of that, and we're going to continue to do that. And it's really been done well for us. And so we're going to continue to do that. And then Sunday we have football.
That's great. Oh, of course you do. So for the beer geeks out there, a little more about the Cicerone dinner. How much does it cost? How long does it last? How many beers are we expecting to taste with that?
It's $14.95 a person.
All right, that's the deal.
And they're
having a lot of fun for $14.95 a person.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
And they get anywhere from 6 to 8 samples.
Okay.
I mean, and it's not full glasses either. It's little tasters.
Okay.
So, because some of them are pretty stout.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah, you're looking at some.
But
I saw some of the lineup you had there. There's some
Yeah.
Powerful beers there.
And it goes from 7 to roughly 9 or 10 o'clock, depending on how good of a time they're having.
Sounds, yeah. And then open mic starts after that.
Yeah, open mic starts at 9 o'clock.
Okay, 9 o'clock. All right. Oh, okay. So that's like in a couple minutes, huh?
Yeah, but they can hold off till we're done.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So I'd like to give just an update. Also, I'm the founding brewmaster of Ballast Point. I don't brew there anymore, but I was founding brewmaster and one of the owners. And so exciting news for Ballast Point. About a month ago, we took possession of our soon-to-be our main flagship brewery, the 100,000 square foot facility in Mira Mesa. We have a 150-barrel brew house from Germany that's been sitting in Oceanside wrapped in plastic for a while, waiting for a location. And so we're starting work on that place. There's 10,000 square feet for a restaurant, and goal is to be in production by June. So the current main brewery in Scripps is a 50-barrel brew house, so that's 3 times the size, which will be a big increase in capacity. So if you're finding Sculpin hard to find, hopefully it won't be hard to find once we start cranking at the new facility.
And we have had Sculpin here, and it does very well every time we have it.
Absolutely, we'll get it back here. Yeah. All right, and so also local news. Last week we talked about Coachella Valley Brewing Company. The other great news here is we have La Quinta Brewing Company is open down in La Quinta, and they have not totally sure on the details, but one of the brewers from Green Flash is designing some of the recipes there. So they're bringing up some big monster San Diego style IPAs to the Coachella Valley, which should be really exciting. I have yet to get down there, but I'm excited about getting down there, and tasted some of their stuff at the Hops and Props a couple weeks ago, and definitely some big monster tasty IPAs going to be coming out of La Quinta.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to get down there either. That's one I was just telling my wife the other day. I want to get over there and see what they have and see what their lineup looks like.
But it's exciting to have the choices in the Coachella Valley. Is the next San Diego?
It's exactly. I mean, it would be great if we could get some more breweries out here, and because San Diego has so many of them. Yeah. And the problem is, we as a small business, a lot of these guys, they self-distribute, so right. we can't get them out here. Yeah. And so to have breweries locally here that we can go to and get beers and know we can get beers, yeah, I think is very important to the entire valley.
Yeah, it is, and the culture of it takes time. It's going to snowball now that we've got a couple really strong local breweries here. I think you're going to really see craft beer blossoming here in the Coachella Valley. I hope so.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's been kind of dry. It's kind of been sparse. So be exciting.
Yeah.
Sure. All right, and now I've been joined by Justin, who is the Cicerone here at Schmidy's. And for those who don't know, can you explain what the Cicerone is? You're keeping these people behind us very happy. I can hear that.
Absolutely. The Cicerone is the equivalent of a wine sommelier, but for beer. So we help with food and beer pairings, the proper storage and serving of beer, maintaining the CO2, kegs, and draft lines, and just helping the customer overall receive a better beer experience.
And so, are you Cicerone only for Schmidy's, or do you work for several locations?
It's a blanket certification, just like any degree or sommelier program.
Okay. So, and is that a full-time job?
It can be, yes. Absolutely.
It can be, all right.
Right now, I also bartend here, so I kind of do this as fun. But it's pretty intense. It starts with a simple online exam. There's 3 levels, just like the sommelier certification program.
Got it. All right.
First level, second level, and then the master level.
Okay.
The first level is a simple test you take online. It certifies you in the basic knowledge of serving beer, storing beer, beer styles.
Okay.
And then after that, you take the mid-level exam, and that is held at different breweries across the country. So what you'll do is you'll study till you think you're ready, and then you find out where they're having a local exam, and you take the exam. And it consists of beer tastings, cleaning draft line, CO2, different styles of the glassware, preparing the beer with food, etc. It covers the whole gamut.
Working with cask ales also?
Absolutely.
Part of that? Awesome.
Real cask ale.
All right, good. That's a skill. And then the master level?
The master level is basically just a more intense version of that. They've just changed the exams.
All right.
And I believe the master level exam is now a 3-day exam.
Wow.
So it's a full 3-day intensive course, and I'm currently studying for that right now.
Outstanding. Well, that sounds like fun.
It's a blast. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I can tell you're having a blast with what you're doing here. So tell us more about, we've got the Cicerone tasting going on behind us, so tell us a little more about if somebody comes down here. We already know it's a bargain at $14.99 for the amount of fun these people are having. So if somebody comes down for a Cicerone tasting, what can they expect?
Well, the $15 includes the 4 beers that I specifically pick out every week, and it's different every single week.
Okay.
We do offer a little bit of a spectacle with it, but it's more about the beers. It's not necessarily a food and beer tasting. We do that the last Wednesday of every month. That's our big beer school event.
Got it. Okay.
What this includes, for $15, you get the 4 beers.
All right.
And then we encourage everybody to bring a craft beer of their choice.
Wow.
And at the end of the tasting, we all vote to see who brought the best beer. So it's turned into a giant bottle share as well.
And a competition.
And
a competitive bottle share.
Yes, which works out best for everybody.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
We get to drink a lot of very rare, expensive beer.
I'm guessing they're in that phase right now.
Yes.
I'm guessing they're in the competition phase right now. All right. So that sounds great. What about here at Schmidy's, besides just regular bottled beer, draft beer? Do you have anything else? Do you have beer engines, cask ales?
We are the only place in the valley that serves real cask ale out of Firkins. Basically, what real cask ale is it's unpasteurized, unfiltered, naturally carbonated. They actually spontaneously ferment the beer inside the cask. It's actually the healthiest, most natural way to serve beer. There's actually a lot of campaigns out there right now to go back to what is quote-unquote real beer, and that would be cask ales.
And so, how's it if it's not carbonated? You're not pushing it with CO2. How do you serve it?
Well, it is carbonated.
It is
but
carbonated,
we don't push CO2 through it. We use the old school beer engine, which means you have to actually manually hand pump the beer like a well.
There. All right.
But you'll find the carbonation on cask ales is much creamier, so it allows a lot of the more subtle flavors of the beer to come through versus the kind of harsh, explosive nature of artificial CO2.
Absolutely, you don't get much of the
bite.
Sort of spiky in the mouthfeel. It's a lot smoother. I know I'm a big
and
fan
healthier
of,
for you.
Healthier for you because of the yeast, the B vitamins you're getting in there.
They haven't killed off any of the good stuff by pasteurizing it.
No pasteurization. And now the casks that you have are mostly Southern California microbrews, or
yes, we like to stay local.
Okay.
Especially with the new Coachella Valley Brewing Company opening up. We worked a lot with Hanger, with Stone Brewing Company, Ninkasi, a bunch of. Not to say that we're only doing West Coast. That's just we like to support our local friends. So.
All right, great to hear. Okay, so we're going to start with a blind tasting. This is Dennis. Dennis poured us a couple. And are these the same beer?
It looks like it. There's a little bit light difference on ours, but they would be the same beer.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm looking like he's got a darker beer. I've got a lighter beer here. So we've got a beer. It's got some cloudiness, kind of a couple orange tones.
You always want to taste with your eyes first. Look at the beer.
Absolutely.
Look at the level of carbonation.
Pretty pale.
The lacing on the glass. That's a good sign. It means, one, our glasses are clean, and 2, the brewery did their job.
The glasses are very cold, too. I noticed that.
Unfortunately, we do have them in the chiller right now.
See if we can warm these up a little for...
you want the beer not too cold because it actually prevents a lot of the flavors.
And I'm still trying to train my wife. She'll get home. She'll go, "Oh, I threw a glass in the freezer for you." I'm like, really? I know you think that's really special, but
if it's good beer, it can be drunk at room temperature.
Yeah. It's at least cellar temperature. Keep it. So anyway, let's go orangey.
I would say a
Nice
burnt
lace
orange.
on it. I don't know how long ago he poured it, so the head may have, but it doesn't look like it had a huge amount of head on it. Definitely some cloudiness to it. So
We're gonna get a very
wow.
citrusy,
super,
floral.
yeah.
That's
Big,
a hot bite, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this is an IPA.
yeah. Big West Coast, big floral, California, American style hopping. Could be from New
See, this
Zealand.
isn't really fair because I tend to know what we have on draft.
Do
right
you?
now.
Okay.
So I know
It's not a European hop. It's not a European
this
style
would
hop.
be a West Coast hop.
Absolutely. Okay. So Pacific Northwest. Almost seems like a bittering hop being used as something that would be a
I
classic
would say
bittering hop.
Cascade or Centennial off the top of my head.
Almost stronger bite than that. Columbus, Galena, but definitely a lot of that floralness, but almost more.
A little bit of that piney,
Very
resiny.
piney, resiny. Yeah. So I'm thinking like something that would have classically been thought of as a bittering hop being used as a finishing hop in that. Let's see here.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and take a sip here.
Not much coming through over. I mean, definitely there's some yeast background, but I'm getting,
Not much at all.
it's hop forward, hop
Very
dominant
hop
in a big way. Oh, little less bitter than I expected.
It's got some malt backbone to it. Kind
Got
of
a little
balances it
sweetness.
out.
Actually, almost finishing a little sweet for me. I was expecting a real monster bite. It's got some nice bitterness up front, but then
This company
maltiness
does
coming.
a good job of making very, very well balanced IPAs.
Yeah, and I'm a big believer in well-balanced IPAs. Have you had the Big Eye?
I have. We have it here in a bottle.
Oh, do you? Okay, that's my recipe, and I'm a big believer
Ballast
in a
Point makes
malt hop,
excellent beers.
hop balance.
Victory at Sea,
Yeah.
Sculpin, a habanero Sculpin. I'm a huge fan.
Awesome. Well, next time I come, I'll bring some. All right.
Will not,
Okay. All right.
well,
so,
cheers.
So,
So based on the fact that we only have 2 IPAs
so
and one
very,
double IPA,
very, just the cleanness of the finish. I'm thinking yeast is maybe the Sierra Nevada strain, the Chico strain. It's a very
Cali Ale.
very clean finishing Cali Ale strain. Not getting a lot of fruitiness anywhere in this one. So very clean ale yeast. So what are we drinking?
This
Or
would
do
be
you-
the Total Domination from Ninkasi out of Oregon.
Total Domination IPA. Is that right? Is it an IPA? It's not an IPA. It is an IPA. It is.
Then it would have to be the.
Well, you do a process of elimination.
Thought we were doing the process.
That's the real current.
Okay.
That's the real current impact zone IPA.
Impact Zone IPA. So out of San Marcos.
Yeah,
San Marcos.
Okay.
So still West Coast.
Yes. San Diego, so big hop forward. Nice beer. Thank you, Dennis, for serving this up.
Excellent.
I could knock a few of these back. All right. Well, cheers.
Definitely a sessionable IPA.
Nice talking beer with you too. This guy knows his stuff. All right. So, Justin, what did you choose for these? We're not chasing blind anymore. So, what did you?
We
what
have
did you
a
choose for our
local
next
brewery, actually. This is made in Thousand Palms, right next door to us. This
Coachella
is
Valley Brewing Company?
Coachella Valley Brewing
We
Company.
talked about that last week. Great, exciting to have a.
I can't wait. In fact, the brewmaster, Chris Anderson, was our head chef here and worked with us here at Schmidy's Tavern before he broke off and did his own brewery thing.
Awesome, and I think Drink Local episode 4 is supposed to be at Coachella Valley Brewing Company.
Excellent.
So,
You're in for a treat.
so no, I've been down there a few times already for sure. So,
So
this
what we
is,
have, this is, in my opinion, one of their flagship beers since they've started out. This is the Desert Swarm. It's a Belgian wit brewed with local killer bee honey from a local killer bee farm and local desert kumquats from Coachella.
All right.
Contrary to the name, it's not going to be very sweet. Honey ferments down extremely well. So it's going to have somewhat dry,
Okay.
a little bit of a dry taste. You're going to definitely get Belgian yeast flavor coming through.
Right, so we're going to get some cloves.
It is
some
dry hop,
banana.
so it's going to have a little bit of a bite to it as well. It's not going to be quite as mild or as banana or clovey as a lot of Belgian beers.
There's a
tend
lot
to
of
be.
Belgian wits are. So let's taste it, then I'll ask some questions about it. Oh, wow. Wow, that's got a zing to it. That's really got a very citrusy. So that's the kumquats.
A little bit
you
more
think, coming
bitter, right?
through?
Because
Is it
usual Belgian
kumquat
wits
peel
use,
or is it?
yes.
It's peel. So it's the peel of the kumquat.
So instead of
okay.
using the curacao orange peel like a lot of Belgian wits do, like
right.
Hoegaarden and etc.,
Yeah.
they use the kumquats, which they hand picked. Several of it took hours upon hours.
And is that some of that? I think that's some of that bitter citrusiness I get in the nose also.
I'm sorry?
Some of that bitter, I get some bitter kind of citrus peel in the nose. So, again, the dry hopping, it's hard to tell. Is that
And
coming
I
from the
don't
hops or is that
know.
coming from the kumquats, do you think?
From the hops, I would believe.
From the hops, you think?
Yes.
Okay, not from the kumquat.
I get mostly just a little bit of kumquat in the flavor. I don't remember what hops they used.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I cannot.
Right. And then as a wit, do they also use, is there raw wheat in this? Is there unmalted
Yes, in
wheat
fact,
in
I
there?
believe they use up to 70%. We have one of the
70%.
They have one of the highest efficiency the Heb systems, so they can actually do.
They don't have to worry about a stuck mash.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm thinking 70%, and then I remembered that. So when we go there, I think we're going to take a look at their
It's one of the
system.
most advanced in Southern California.
They don't have a normal mash tun that most microbreweries would have. They have it's a mash filter system that a lot of the very big breweries use. It's very high efficiency, and they're one of the few microbreweries in the country. I think they said 4 in the country.
Right. And especially in the desert, you got to watch your water. And I mean, this stuff comes out almost totally dry.
Yeah, they're using it to save water, but it also lets them do things like 70%
Exactly,
unmalted
where it's
wheat.
not just clumping all together. down
Okay,
there.
so for those of you in non-total beer geek land, what goes into beer is malted, which means they take the wheat. They take the wheat, and wheat is a seed, right? And they soak it in water, and the little seed begins to germinate. It begins to grow, and then they roast it and kill it.
Correct.
It's very sad. But that's malt. They start to sprout it. And the malt, by malting it, it breaks down a lot of the starches in it. It starts to help it
Sugars,
convert.
yes.
If it's unmalted, it's very gummy and gluey. And so as a brewer, I'm thinking that much unmalted wheat. I used 40% in my wit beer.
Right.
70%, I would have a big pot of glue that would be ruined, that I would never get any beer out of, that would just...
And he'll highlight that fact when you go there.
I would just have to spend hours cleaning the mess out, and I wouldn't get a good beer out of it. So that's impressive. 70% raw wheat.
It's an excellent system they have over there.
Do you think are there any spices in there besides that? I know coriander is really common in a wit. No. Okay. That's got a really intensely different finish to it. Definitely
American style.
Yes.
You get the Belgian yeast flavors coming through in the end. A lot of clove I get. Not so much banana, but I do get a lot of clove off it.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm getting some of the fruitiness. I think some of that banana bubblegum, especially maybe in the finish more than in the nose.
Definitely in the finish, yeah. On the back, sides of my...
Neat. Kumquats and Killer Bee Honey.
I believe it's the only, as far as I know, the only beer in the country brewed with Killer Bee Honey.
I didn't know it takes very brave beekeepers.
Well, it's actually a live bee removal, so he goes to your house.
Right.
And he just vacuums up all the bees. And
I've seen the truck driving around. That's crazy.
And in fact, you can buy the Killer Bee Honey at the brewery as well.
I've seen it there, yes. They sell the Killer Bee Honey. And I was there, and there was some Europeans asking, do you have it in the crystal form? And anyway, there was a lot of
pure
confusion.
honeycomb, right?
Pure honeycomb. Anyway, well, hey, thank you for this. Excellent, delicious. Coachella Valley Brewing Company.
Support local.
Killer Bee Wit.
Desert Swarm.
Desert Swarm.
That's what it's called.
All right. Okay, so Justin, I noticed we have a different glass now.
Correct. What a lot of people don't realize is the shape of the beer glass actually makes a huge impact on the taste and the aroma of the beer. Depending on the type of beer, there's certain flavors, whether it be a sweet beer, sour beer, bitter beer. Glasses are uniquely designed for that style to pour the beer over a certain part of your tongue to help emphasize the flavors the brewer was going for.
Awesome. And so, like, if you go to Belgium, which is kind of the motherland of many different beer styles, And you go into a bar, they might have 15, 20 different beers, and every one of them will be served in its own glass. So Chimay is in a
it's
Chimay
against the
glass.
law to do otherwise in Belgium.
Yeah.
It's actually a law. You have to serve a beer. You can't pour another beer in a Duvel glass. It's illegal.
Yeah, and there are some bars in San Francisco, LA area that are starting to sort of do that. I know.
Absolutely. In
I know,
fact, I've worked at several fine dining restaurants in Las Vegas. It's when I first got certified. I was the only Cicerone in Las Vegas, and I worked at like Rosemary's Restaurant, etc. And they had every beer they would have, they had the exact proper glassware for it.
Which is
And not only is it visually impressive for the
Yes.
customer, it actually makes a huge difference on the flavor.
absolutely. So what are we pouring that deserves a goblet here?
What we have here is the Noche de las Muertas. It's the Night of the Dead. It's an imperial stout at 10.5% from Aztec Brewing Company.
Oh wow!
And it is brewed with cinnamon.
Not overwhelmingly, but really nice little warming
You get
touch there in the nose.
A little on the nose.
Yeah.
What you're going to find is it sweetens up the back end of the palate. So a lot of that roasty imperial stout, real coffee, bitter chocolate
Yeah, I'm
flavors.
getting a lot of coffee chocolate, and
It'll kind of mellow it out. The cinnamon kind of mellows out a little bit of that roastiness. It's not overwhelming. It's not like you're drinking a big cup of cinnamon coffee.
No, that was my fear when you said cinnamon beer. I'm like, okay, because sometimes spice beers can be
Or
overwhelming.
overspiced. I've noticed most pumpkin beers I've had are overspiced. And it can totally just ruin the beer.
Right. It just tastes like, and I find I have a hard time drinking a lot, but some great classic beers are spice beers. But I think part of it is making sure the spice is subtle, that it blends with the hops and the malt, that it doesn't overwhelm
Detract
everything else
from the
about
beer,
the beer.
right.
I've had some coffee beers where it was like, okay, why not just drink a cup of coffee?
Exactly.
Because there's no other aroma coming through.
Right.
Oh wow, the cinnamon really does help round it out. It's definitely got a lot of warmth in it. Definitely a strong kind of
Yes.
coffee in the finish with just again a subtle amount of cinnamon, not overwhelming.
A little bit of bitter cooking chocolate, but overall, especially for imperial stouts, this is one of the more easier drinking ones. Imperial just denotes a higher alcohol content.
Right.
It's actually a lot of it is subject to opinion. For example, there's no technical style as a triple IPA, but people have started calling things triple
Sure.
IPAs.
Sure.
Just a
Well,
pet peeve.
and style we were talking earlier. Now we're starting to hear some breweries talking about dark IPAs. So I don't know what a dark pale ale is. Pale by definition, but
Amber
anyway.
pale ale. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's Thunderdome out there, right? It's the Wild West in craft beer.
yes. Eventually, what I think is going to happen is that you're going to start seeing the BJCP and other beer style people who pretty much make the rules.
Right. Throw up their hands and give up.
No, actually, probably start getting more organized and
Got it.
and updating their styles a lot. Because right now,
Sure.
I believe it's just a series of volunteers. It's not actually like any sort of
Yeah.
internationally recognized way of doing things. But
For sure. All
think
right.
that'll change.
So the Dia de los Muertos.
Noche de las Muertas.
Noche, the Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Dead.
Night of the Dead.
It was brewed to celebrate the night after the Day of the Dead, the Mexican celebration.
the night after the Day of the Dead.
Yes.
Okay. Dia de los Muertos.
Yes,
Noche de
correct.
los Muertos. Awesome. Well, thank you. This
Hey,
is great.
It's my pleasure, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. All right, Justin. We have a pink bottle sitting on the table now.
We do. I
Pink
figured
bottle and some little glasses.
Figured we break out something special. This is an example of some of the rare, more unique beers you can expect to find at my tastings. This is from Rogue Brewing Company out of Oregon. This is their Voodoo Donut series. There's a donut store in Oregon called the Voodoo Donut, which does a lot of eclectic, really cool types of donuts.
Smells like donuts.
And they
It
brew a
does
lot of
smell like
beers
donuts.
based on the different types of donuts that they do. And this one is a pretzel, raspberry, and chocolate beer. It's 6.7%.
Have you thought about serving it with a donut on the bottle?
I almost, if I had still had some pretzels back there, I was going to serve it with some pretzels
All right.
and some cooking chocolate.
So
with that.
donut, pretzel, chocolate, raspberry.
This would be in the specialty beer category.
Yes, for sure.
It's a little unique, but
Wow.
you never
Big-
know what you're going to find.
Big raspberry aroma, big chocolate in there. Pretzels, that's
I
okay.
get a little toasted pretzel on there.
Okay, so how do you think you brew with pretzels? I'm guessing they break pretzels up and put them in
Just
the mash.
toss it right into mash.
They're not dry hopping with dry pretzeling?
No. Yeah, new technique.
Dry pretzeling. Just throw them right in the fermenter. Dry pretzeled in the bottle. Wow, that raspberry aroma is intense.
It comes through on the taste extremely, almost a raspberry lambic taste.
And it says raspberry extract, so they're not using whole raspberries the way they would in a lambic barrel. They're actually adding a raspberry extract to it.
They don't want to leave it up to the spontaneous ferment. They want very specific, calculated.
But the chocolate's coming through very strongly.
They got like a sour, like almost raspberry lambic taste, and then it finishes with the chocolate and the coffee flavors.
And again, could be a beer based on the ingredients that could be very gimmicky, very one-dimensional.
Some of them have been.
Some of them have been.
Some of them have been.
But it actually comes together. The ingredients marry. I could drink. So, sometimes these beers I can drink this much of.
Sometimes you can have a pint.
And sometimes I could have a pint. I think I could have a pint.
I could definitely have a pint of this. They had a bacon maple. That was a little too smoky for me.
Bacon maple.
Bacon maple.
Okay, now bacon. Okay. So as a brewer, the enemy, you can't put fats in beer. So some kind of bacon. I'm wondering how they get the bacon flavor.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if they did like a bacon smoke.
Bacon smoke, yeah.
I don't know if they maybe cooked the bacon, put the malt over the bacon. I don't know.
Because if you put fat in beer, you have no head. Completely just...
And you will have a layer of fat floating in your glass.
And you have a layer of fat floating in your glass.
It's not too appetizing.
Can't put fat in
Especially
beer.
as it cools, you're going to have like this big...
Put this layer of lard on top of your glass. Yeah, you
Keep
chilled.
it from getting oxidized.
It's like when you cool the gravy down after Thanksgiving and you get
that like film on
that
top.
white layer of film. Yeah, okay. So anyway, I don't know how they do bacon. This is great. Justin, I appreciate this.
My pleasure. Well, this is just a small example of all the fantastic beer finds you can get here at Schmidy's.
So what we've learned today is you need to get down to Schmidy's. You need to come to a tasting on Tuesday nights.
It starts at 7, but get here at 6:30. I only have a limited room, and it fills up fast.
Limited room. Be here early and get warmed up.
Bring $15 and a bottle of your own craft beer.
Bottle of something to share.
Exactly.
And again, Schmidy's, great place to drink beer. Comfortable, chill. Everybody here is just
great food,
relaxing, having a good
great
time.
atmosphere.
We're getting ready for some live entertainment on stage here. Great atmosphere. Yeah, I had the fish tacos earlier. The food is very good here. Really, really nice zingy green salsa on that.
Yes.
So come on down to Schmidy's and drink some good stuff.
Cheers.
Cheers.